These are in listen-only mode.
How you doing there, Claude?
I think you're driving me to drink, Henry. Oh, they can't see. Oh, they can't see the video, can they? Not yet. How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, doing fine.
Are we
Hey,
rocking?
guys.
Are we on?
Yep, we're on. And if you guys can, we're doing an audio check here. So if you guys can just type in the chat box, if you can hear both me and Claude and actually see us, we're up on the very top. So just go ahead and type in some messages there, guys, just to make sure you can hear us. Okay, good. All right. Looks like our audio is good. Yes, yes, yes. I can hear you. I can see you, both of you. Hear it nice and clear. All right.
Can I start singing?
The national anthem?
What should I be? Should I be seeing what you're seeing, Henry? Or
Yep, right there right now what we're seeing is on your screen, which is the mind map. But I wanted to go ahead and thank everybody for coming on here in the West Coast. It's 4 o'clock. East Coast, it's 7, Claude. And wanted to thank everybody coming in here to the webinar.
hey, what about Colorado? What about Mountain Time?
Can't forget about Mountain Time, plus all the water that you guys got, too.
No, we have snow now.
Uh-oh.
I was running through the snow this morning. Believe it, at around 11,000 feet. So it's not so bad. Two ski areas are going to be opening up pretty soon. That's how much snow we have in the high mountains already here.
Wow, well, that's great. That's great.
Loveland and Arapahoe. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? What's this webinar about?
Well, one of the things, Claude, in some of the clients that I work with, and I know some of the clients you work with too, the phone is one of the main, communications that we have with a lot of buyers and sellers. And so sometimes people tend to get caught up in it, and that's one of the things. I mean, sometimes, you always have that call, and then all of a sudden when you hang up, you said, you know what, I should have said this, I should have done that,
Do you ever get embarrassed about something you didn't say or you wish you said years later? Am I the only one?
No, I mean, I always think about that. It's like, hey, if I just would have said this to the seller or say that to the seller, I mean, those are just some of the subtle differences there that I think can make or break a deal, And so that's one of the things that you want to be able to do. Hey, Claude, raise up your mind map just a little bit higher on the screen so people can see it. There you go. Okay, perfect. Perfect, right there. And so to get back to that premise, I mean, that's exactly it, Claude. Yep, that's a little bit clearer. You can increase it too, so that's perfect. But one of the things, Claude, is you're exactly right. I mean, you come back and you say, hey, look, I should have said this or I should have done that. Or, you know what, how do I quite answer that? And so those are some of the things that definitely you and I are going to talk about on this webinar tonight. And, one of the things for those of you, who don't know, Claude Diamond's been in the lease purchase business now for how long, Claude? It's been close to...
Since God invented land, okay? I've been in it a long time. I love this business. It's given my wife and my family security, comfort. Real estate is the greatest business in the world, and specializing in a niche in real estate is even better. And I love lease purchasing. The biggest problem, I think, for most people is the sales, excuse me, and sales and communication and things like that. And you can't, if you don't know what to say, if you don't know how to qualify, if you don't know how to ask the right questions, then you're not going to succeed in this business. You're not going to make all the money you need to make.
Right. Well, I mean, and those are great points. I mean, those are exactly great points there that you want to be able to do. So, the most communication, I feel the most efficient communication is the telephone. Those are the best way to go through a lot of different buyers and sellers at a fairly quick amount of time.
Exactly. And, people are always saying, well, they're asking you questions. And here's one of the hard rules. I invented the gut sales method so we would know what to say when they ask us these questions. And the person asking the questions is the one in control. That's the one underlying fact about the gut sales method. They are the ones in control. So we want to ask questions, but we can't ask questions like we're cross-examining people. We have to do it with empathy, nurturing, and stroking. And for those of you who have studied my gut sales method, you know what I'm talking about. We can't just go out and give presentations, ask for the order several times. That's a waste of time. It's unproductive, and it's very frustrating. So we have to know what to say in a systematic way to retain the control in the whole process. And that's what Guts is all about. You had an example of a deal you just did. Didn't you just do a deal the other day where somebody asked you something and you said, oh my gosh, I knew the response, something like that?
Well, you know, exactly. Whenever I tend to make my calls here, you guys, and it's a little secret that I have here, Claude, you know, when people are returning my phone calls, that's great. And the key thing here is that what I've always noticed is that I tend to call people back on Sundays. I know it seems crazy, but I call them back Sunday evenings. And the reason why I do this is because I know they're home. So that's one of the things, if you can't get a hold of that one individual, sometimes, you know, you may have to call them on that Sunday. And if you're returning a phone call, that's giving you permission to give them a call back. And so what ended up happening, Claude, was I had called this one lady yesterday, and essentially she had a piece of property, land that she was selling, fairly good size, plus a house and everything else. But you know, Claude, she never gave me really the opportunity to go in and ask the questions. She was taking control of the conversation. And at that point, just describing the property and going on and on and on, and not allowing me to ask the right proper question. So in that situation, Claude, what would you do if you have somebody who's taking control of that conversation? How do you get that back?
Well, once again, the rule is the person asking the questions is the one in control. And part of Guts is to keep the prospect emotionally involved. So you ask them questions so they give you feedback, so you get qualification, so you get commitment. But if you're just answering questions, you're just a free consultant. That's all you're doing. And they don't need to pay you or buy your product or service or do a real estate deal with you because you gave everything away for free. So, for instance, if you asked me what was one of the typical questions she asked you?
Well, you know, how much are you going to offer me? You know, what's your offer?
Let's role play. You know, Henry, that's a great question. You must have a price in mind. You must have brought that up for a reason. Can you help me understand where you're going here? I'm not really sure what you mean.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to give my property away. I've had a lot of people call and just really give me a lowball offer.
And excuse me, but did you get that impression that I wanted to steal your property or take it away?
No.
How did I give you that impression? You must have brought that up for a reason too.
Well, I did just because I'm getting a lot of people, you know, calling me, giving me these lowball offers.
Okay, so I guess at this point, should I just get off the phone? You do not want to sell me your home today. Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, the offer's good. Yeah, I'd be willing to go ahead and sell it to you.
Okay, well, I have a problem here because I don't really understand what you're talking about. Can you help me out a little here? I've never had anyone talk to me this way who I was going to write a check to.
Well, you know, I've had a lot of people, you know, probably undercut.
Okay, let's take a time out here. If you go back in this role play, if you noticed every time, I basically turned your question into
Another question.
Another question. You know, there's an old rule Max used to say, don't pee on my back and tell me it's raining. And any of my mentees who are listening right now know what I mean by that. It means if you're on the phone with somebody, most people I think are very friendly, very polite, well-mannered. I call people up and basically, hey, I'm calling about your property or I got your phone number in front of me. But if they take the attack mode because their perception is that you're some kind of salesperson or you're going to steal their property, you have to regain that control. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. You're going to get beat up all day long. And if you folks look on my mind map, if you can see it, you know, we can't give premature presentations, which is what most people do. Hi, I want to talk to you about lease purchasing, and they say, what's lease purchasing? And then you go into this long-winded explanation, and then they ask you more and more questions. You're exhausted, and they say, well, I really don't want to do that, or send me more information, or I'll think about it. And if you do that too often, you feel like, you know, it's like a deja vu all over again. You're exhausted. You're frustrated. because you're doing the same thing over and over again, and that's not fun. In the role play you and I just did, every time you brought up something, I ended up, I don't think I understand. Can you help me? What do you mean by that? Turn a question into a question, but make sure you're empathetic, make sure you're nurturing, and occasionally, if they deserve it, give them a stroke or a compliment. That was a good question, Mr. Prospect. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not really sure what you mean about that. Can you help me? These are the things we do. We have another technique called the stop and go. Ask me another question, Henry. Anything.
Well, another question like I can ask is, we can retain this back over to businesses. If somebody's going in and you're offering them an insurance package, or something for their business, whether it's workman's comp or something like that, Claude, I mean, what's the difference between your insurance company compared to the one I have right now?
Who are you with right now, if you don't mind me asking?
Right now I'm with the Hartford.
Good people, good company, great reputation. Why are you even interested in looking at another policy?
Well, because they continue raising my premiums, I mean, every year.
Well, but everybody does that, Henry. I mean, even my company does it occasionally. It can't be that much more money, though. It's probably, nobody wants to pay more, but it's probably not affecting your budget, your lifestyle, is it?
Well, it's starting to now.
Ooh, time out. That's pain. That's fear of loss of money. Okay, see how we got the emotion out? Did you see what I just did? I did not attack the other company. I just say, hey, they're good company, good people. And then you did my job for me. No, they're raising my money. They're raising my policy rates and everything like that. See how that little transference occurred? By me going positive, you went.
I went negative, You
went negative. We call that a redirection. Redirection allows you to remain in control. It's a form of reverse psychology. Takes a lot of practice, but I got you to do the bad mouthing for me. And
right.
Now I found that there's your need or your emotional trigger. Now I know what to work with. Going back, and let's just go back in the role play. So, Henry, let me ask you something. I don't know if we're going to do business today or not, and I might have to ask you a few more questions, but if I could give you the same or better coverage for less money, that isn't anything you'd consider doing with my company today, is it?
Well, if it's the same coverage for less money, then yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. My hearing aid battery's always falling out. What did you say?
I said yes. I mean, if it allowed me to go ahead and keep my premiums low, and have the same coverage, then yes, I would.
Boom. Off the role play. You just closed yourself without me asking for the order. Did you see that happen? Mm-hmm. This happens every day I talk to people. I get an idea. See, I just got a tentative commitment from you up front. Did I give a presentation?
No.
Did I quote you any prices or tell you how great my company is, how great I am? We've been in business 100 years, and we'll give you a free gift card to Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Parlor. Did I do anything like that?
No.
No. All I had to do was address that emotional trigger. So you've got to know what to say when they say the things that they say. You've got to respond with a question. You've got to respond with nurturing, stroking. You've got to be empathetic. You cannot give a premature presentation. Otherwise, you're just giving away all your good stuff, and they don't really need you, or they'll use the information you give them to go beat up your competition. What we want to do is qualify by knowing how to redirect and ask questions. We want to get a tentative or a full commitment, and we want to get it real fast. Why do you think I have this? I don't know if people can see the video side, but I have this little 3-minute timer here. I get right to the bottom line with people, very straightforward, because I practice this. A lot of people are probably saying, "Hey, how do I learn this stuff?" And you have to practice it. You got to have an outline in front of you. I have see this little mind map on the screen, Henry? Mm-hmm. I have dozens of mind maps like this all over my desk. Just because I can see where it's going, and now I know what to say when they ask me those questions. That was good. Let's do it. So let's do another one, because I love these role plays, and I think people love them too.
Well, one of the ones I always come up sometimes is, I need to talk to my spouse about this.
And boom. So now that's a common one, isn't it?
Right.
And what you want to do, most people will say, most salespeople, what will the average amateur salesperson, what will they say to that? Gee, I got to think about it and talk to my wife.
Well, is she going to be home soon, or when? Is there some time that we can, get together? All three of us.
Well, I'll talk to her. She's going to be home in a couple days or something, and I'll run it past. See, you totally lost control.
Right.
And why? And you got to ask yourself this: you want to be empathetic. You want to be a Claude Diamond mind reader. Why are they saying this?
Right.
Ask yourself that question.
And sometimes it's a stall tactic.
It's a stall or a defensive tactic. They don't want to make. Maybe it's legitimate too. I'm probably the only man in the world. I've said this on some videos that I've bought houses without asking my wife. Now in some marriages that's a suicide. That's suicide. But we've done a lot of real estate, and my wife knows I have superb taste. And but most people before they make a big decision, they do want to check with their spouse or their partner or their business associate or something like that. That can happen. So what you want to do at this point is one or two moves. And let's go back in the role play. Henry, I think that's really great, stroke, that you always discuss big financial pictures with your wife before you do that. That's really commendable. Your wife, I take it, is not home right now?
Yes, she's not here right now.
Oh, okay. Hopefully she comes home at night.
Yeah, she will.
Oh, good.
Hopefully.
I didn't know. This is a very dangerous guts move that I do. That I fix it. I say, well, she's probably a nurse and works late at night or something like that.
Right.
Oh, okay. Got to have fun with guts too while you're doing this redirect. Let me ask you something. When your lovely bride comes home and you tell her that you want to do a lease purchase or buy a $1 million life insurance policy or sign up for my Amway program, isn't she going to be upset and mad with you? Isn't she going to kill you?
Yeah, if I don't discuss it with her.
Well, even if you do discuss it with her, isn't she going to be mad to kill you anyway? When you tell her, hey, honey, I just bought this used car from Claude Diamond and it's great, or I want to buy this used Yugo from Claude Diamond, what's she going to say to you? She's going to kill you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, and I don't want that to happen. So really, isn't it over, Henry? We're not going to do business in spite of all the problems and the needs that you need to drive a used car or buy my life insurance policy or do my lease purchase. Really, no matter what happens, we're not going to do business today, are we?
Well, yeah, I still need to talk to her.
But it's really over, isn't it, for all deeds and purposes?
Well, no, it's not really over.
Well, why do I get the feeling that it is? Because when someone tells me they have to talk to their spouse, I have the feeling they're being polite to me again.
Well, I do need to discuss it with her.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty big decision.
And she's going to be home at what, 7:30, 8:30 this evening?
Yeah, she'll be home tonight.
Okay, so when we speak at 8 o'clock this evening, could you do me a favor and tell me if it's over or if you have more questions or if you just want to go ahead? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, boom. So you see, off the role play, I went in the opposite direction. Redirection, negative and positive redirection, is a way to get you, well, no, sometimes she says yes or something like that. At least I got another commitment from you for a specific time. So I know if I don't get a phone call from you at 8 o'clock or I make a phone call at 8 and I get the voicemail, I know it's over. And that's the best part about knowing what to say when they say these things that they say.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, I was going to talk about another method before called the stop and go technique. Sometimes we don't know the answer to all the questions, do we? We need a little time to think it out, don't we?
Yeah, no, we do.
So what would happen if you asked me a question? And a stop and go is where we start to answer a question and then we turn it into another question to regain control. So ask me a question, why is the sky blue? How much does a $1 million life insurance policy cost? Or how do I do a lease purchase? Anything you like.
Okay, Claude, why should I do business with you?
It's a good question. I was thinking maybe you shouldn't. Why are we even talking this evening, Henry?
Claude, I don't know. you'd called me in regards to my property.
Yeah, I know, but why should you do business with me? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to sell your property to me. People ask me that question a lot. Now, you must have brought that up for a reason, Henry. Help me out. You sound like a nice guy. Why would you ask me a question like that? Help me out a little here.
Well, I just don't know who you are. You kind of just picked my number and just called me, so I don't know exactly who you are or what.
Isn't that the reason you advertised on Craigslist or whatever? Didn't you want me to call you?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Sometimes there's a lot of crooks out there too.
Oh, so now you're, so if, would you rather I just get off the phone? Maybe I'm a crook too. Let me
No,
ask you something before I get off the phone. Are you purposely trying to insult me? I think at this point you owe me an apology or I'm going to get off the phone. I'm sure not going to write a check to someone who's treating me like this.
no. I mean, I'm still interested in selling my property though.
Oh, really? Well, do you think this is a good way to talk to someone who's going to write you a very large check this evening?
No.
Yeah, neither do I. Do you want to apologize and then we'll start all over again? Maybe you had a bad day today. Is that what it is?
No, I mean, not really. I'm just, like I said, I've got a lot of people that just called me that just seem like, they're kind of untrustworthy the way, they talk to me. They're trying to steal my home or, offer me a very low price on my house.
What if I said that has given you that impression?
You haven't said anything. It's just what other people have
So
told
then
me.
why are you speaking to me this way? You have 15 seconds. Well, I want my apology or I'm getting off the phone.
Well, I didn't mean to say that. So
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't mean to say that. Didn't mean to come across that way.
Which part?
About being rude or insulting you.
Well, I accept your apology. But see, don't let them pee on your back and tell you it's raining. Off the role play. You cannot be submissive and subservient or you're a dead man walking in business. You can't be a bully, but you cannot let them treat you like, I've heard what you're doing. This is a great role play you're doing, by the way, where they're aggressive and they're being nasty. And how do I know you're not going to steal my home or anything like that?
Right.
You cannot do business when you have those different levels of respect. You've got to have, as we say, I'm a student of transactional analysis from Dr. Eric Byrne, Dr. Harris, and you've got to have what we call an adult-to-adult conversation, not a parent to a child or a child to a parent. They're different emotional states and ego states. We've got to take them up here to an adult-to-adult. So there's that respect. You wouldn't talk to your doctor, your minister, your lawyer, or somebody you respect the same way you were talking to me just now on the phone, would you?
No.
I hope not. So there's a way to speak to people and what to say. And sometimes the best way, you've got to retain the control. Sometimes you might say, you might do the stop and go technique where you start to answer the question, where if you would ask me, well, gee, how do I know you're not a crook? Well, well, maybe you don't, sir, but are the things that you need from me to ascertain my credibility? What would you need from me in order to do? Now, let me ask you something, sir. You must have brought that up for a reason. Are you having a bad day or someone ripped you off or have you had some negative situations? Off the role play. That's a stop and go. I start to answer the question and then I ask another question to regain that control and put you up on the defensive, actually.
Yeah, that's some of the things. I mean, someone had asked, how does the gut system work in the business world? So if you're talking to an owner, Claude, most owners are usually hard to get a hold of at that point. And so if someone says, look, I'm too busy right now to talk.
Are you too busy to cash a check, sir?
No, obviously not.
Well, then maybe well, you advertised your property for sale. Do you want to sell it today or not?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay, so can we make time to talk for a few minutes like like grown-ups, or are we going to play this little phone tag game?
No, we can set up a time and see if you're willing to buy my property.
Let me check my schedule. I'm available at 3:35 this afternoon. That's the only time I'm available. Can you call me then?
Yeah, that should work.
It should or it will?
No, it will work.
What?
Yeah, yes, it will.
I expect your call at that time. Talk to you then. Boom. Off. That's being an assertive, not a bully, an assertive guts salesman. You see right away. He doesn't know who you can't let him manipulate you like that. And that's what you just said. You hear stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Call me back or I'm too busy. Well, maybe I'm too busy to write you a check today, sir.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I'm going to write him a check today. I don't even know if I'm going to make him an offer.
Right.
Okay? I don't know anything, but I can't let the discussion start with him being rude to me, bullying me. I've got to show that, hey, I'm a serious business person. This is my expectation in our relationship. Okay? So you've got to take control back again.
Right. You know,
Very, very quickly. Good role plays. This is fun. You're having. Did you have a bad day today, by the way, Henry? These are all such negative things here.
well, it happens out there. Like I said, especially, you know, it's like I said, one of the individual asked about, does the gut system work in businesses? And it does. It works the exact same way in businesses. You know, whether it's a business owner, whether you're selling insurance, whether you're selling cars, either way, I mean, this system works wherever you plug it in.
The system works because you got to ask yourself why. We know that sales is the $1,000,000 skill. People make more money if they sell a good product or service or do real estate or anything else. We know if they have a good product or service, why do so many fail? We know that a lot of salespeople are the top income producers in this country, the top 1% of the top 1%, because some of them understand what makes other people tick, why they behave the way they do. We have to understand that. We have to study it, and we have to practice it and become really good at it. And just for our own sake, because if we go out day after day, listen, I'm the former world's worst salesman. I used to sell hot dogs for Swift Premium. I used to sell tools off the back of a truck. I used to do all these things, and I'd get tons and tons of rejection, or people would be late for meetings, or they'd let me sit in a waiting room reading old magazines, or they'd say, I'm very busy, Claude, you only have 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I had an appointment an hour and a half ago. Okay, and this is the way they treat you sometimes, just like you were doing in the role play. And if you allow them to treat you this way, whether you do your presentations in person or on the phone, how are you going to feel at the end of the day?
Yeah, you're going to feel beat up. So, I mean, like I said, you know, someone said for business owners, it's the same thing. You're turning the tables around on them, you know, and that's one of the key things, because at the end of the day, you feel beat up, whether you're walking into that business or whether you're calling that business on the phone.
Yeah, one of my favorite expressions and techniques that I learned from Max is fire the prospect. We cannot, no matter what the gurus say at all the seminars, we cannot do business with everyone. Some people don't need what we have, what we're selling. Some people cannot afford what we're selling. Some people don't have the authority to make a decision, a buying decision. Some people just don't have the character to give you a commitment that they can stand by. We need to find this out in the beginning, before the presentation. And as you know, I don't give, here's one of my hard and fast rules, ladies and gentlemen, no presentations. It's a waste of time unless you know who you're selling, what they need, can they afford to buy it or finance it, and you have rights in the sales process. You know, I've often said that, you know, we've got rights that we can have a civil conversation with somebody, yet we work with a system, and we want to have a certain amount of control so we know that we're spending time with the right prospect, or we can fire that prospect, okay? And this is the stuff that makes sales so much fun. You make a hell of a lot more money. But if you're going out getting beat up every day, you're never going to enjoy what you're doing, and you're going to be switching companies and switching careers and things like that. And it's not so much that all the companies or the products or services are bad. It's because no one ever taught you gut selling, intuitive selling, how to control the process and know what to say when they ask you some of these questions. We got to do one more. I know time's running fast here, but tell me the one you got to. I got to speak to my wife again, or my spouse. Ask me that one more time.
Yeah, sure. You know, Claude, I just have to speak to my spouse about this. It's a pretty big decision.
Oh, you know what? And that's good. And I just spoke to my spouse before, and she said it's okay to sell you. So you go ahead and talk with your wife, and can we speak again at 3:30?
She doesn't come home till later.
Oh, okay. Well, my wife said it's okay. So I got my side of the table covered, Henry. So you go check with your. See how silly this sounds?
Yeah.
And that's my point. I'm going to have fun. A few people get mad at me for doing that. So what? I fix it. I can always fix it later. And for those of you who know my system, there is a strategy, a technique called "we can fix it later." We just want to get commitment. But you know, people say these things because they either don't want to make a commitment, or maybe it's really sincere. Either way, What are some other? Do we have any questions before I
Yeah,
move
but
on?
one of the questions I have from one person, they're asking, for any business, what about a car dealership? Let's just say you're trying to set up advertising for them in a car dealership, Claude. I work for the local newspaper, and I'm trying to go in there to hopefully, have them advertise in my newspaper. And so I'm talking to the general sales manager just to try to go in and see him.
Okay, so and who asked that question?
I don't have the name, but I don't know right off the question. But Dan,
What's the
Dan
real
asked
issue?
the question, and you know what, Claude, is it okay if I bring Dan on? Dan, if you have a quiet environment, let me know and I'll bring you on. You can type in yes or no, and I'll have Dan come on and ask the question here, and see if he is quiet enough. So if you can raise your hand, Dan, let me know, and I can go ahead and get you on here. And I'll see if he does that. So
Is Dan our car salesman?
about selling, he's asking about selling gut system to businesses, and I'm trying to see if he can raise. So just raise your hand, Dan, if you can. Dan is from Montreal.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's from Canada.
Dan.
And let me see right here. And if it's okay, Dan, I'm going to bring you on here. Hopefully you're not too quiet. So hold on just a minute, Claude.
Okay, because time's really flying here.
Hey, Dan, if you want to turn down your computer there, you can go ahead and ask your question.
I wrote.
Bonjour, Dan. Comment allez-vous?
Hello?
Hello. Bonjour.
Oh, shit, you can hear me. That's good.
Okay.
Okay. Keep it clean, Dan. Go ahead.
Sorry.
There's
Okay,
immature young people here.
Oh, sorry. Let's pretend I sell. Want to try to sell the gut system right now. I'm studying the gut system, and they say like, well, we already have a selling system that works perfectly fine.
Oh, then that's great, sir. If it's working perfectly fine and you're making all the money and doing all the sales, then there's no reason to look at another sales system, is there?
That's right.
Oh, okay. So your sales you're probably the top seller in the company and making gobs of money. Good for you. Glad. I'm always glad to hear a success story. How are you doing it, sir?
I'm doing very good.
You're doing it very good. What system are you using? Why is it working for you? Have you reached all your goals?
We went to a sales seminar and.
Okay, and just not to interrupt you, Dan, but
yeah.
there's basically there's no need here. There's no problem. If there's no pain, there's no gain. If they don't have a problem, I especially ask that question. You're making all the money you want and what you need. If there's no need, then there's no reason to sell them and leave.
Just move on.
Henry?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Dan. Hopefully that answered your question. We got a little bit of feedback there.
Okay. There you are. You're back. Okay,
yep,
good.
I'm back. Just
You
had a little
another
camera
question?
problem. Okay, go right ahead.
Question?
Let's see. I don't know if if somebody has another question here, please mute your microphone, or just mute your speakers if you can. And let me see right here. We got another question on there. If you have another question, let us know, and I will go ahead and raise it up. But in that situation, Claude, sometimes it seems like, don't try to push the issue. If they're happy with what they got, just go ahead and continue and move on. I think sometimes we try too hard. It seems like it.
Exactly. Well said. We try too hard. What is the perception of the prospect when we act like a little beggar? When we say, Mommy, can I have a cookie out of the jar? Daddy, can I stay up an extra half hour? We sound subservient. We sound submissive to the prospect. We don't. Here's the rule. Never, if your competition is doing it, stop doing it. You never, ever want to sound like your competition. You want to be an original. You want to be creative. And what you want to do is ask questions that get the prospect so emotionally involved that they want more information about your product or service. They want to do business with you. You may even get something that is really remarkable. And I'm not talking about bonding and rapport. I think that's silly. I'm talking about trust here.
Right.
What you want is trust with the prospect, and you're never going to get trust with a prospect when you sound like a beggar. when you sound like the typical goofy salesperson. Mr. Serrano, let me tell you about my widget. It's the best widget in the world. We're having a special right now, and the price goes up on Friday. Do you want 5, 10, or 15, Mr. Serrano? That's a bad way to sell. That's an old-fashioned way to sell. And right away, the prospect is thinking what, Henry?
Well, I mean, the prospect is like, I want to get this guy out of my office,
Oh, yeah. Get me away from this guy. Honey, hang up some garlic around the door, This is a vampire here. You want to make people buy from you because they see the value in your product or service. They trust you. And you want to create, by asking their questions, you want to create this emotional need where they say, wow, he's right. This will save me money. It will make me money. It will fill up my property. It will give me the coverage I need to protect my family. Whatever you as the professional need to ask questions that bring up this emotional psychological trigger. So when they say something to you like, gee, why should I buy from you? Ask me that one, Henry. Let's have fun with that for a second.
Sure. Well, I mean, Claude, why should I buy from you?
You know what, Henry? I was thinking the same thing. Maybe you shouldn't. What do you think?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, give me a good answer. Is it over, Henry?
I
mean, if you're happy with your insurance company, there's no reason to buy mine, right?
Well, you got a point.
Well, yeah, the point is, I don't want to make you buy some. Listen, if you're with a company right now and you're paying reasonable rates for excellent coverage and you're happy with them, there's no reason to look or talk to anybody else, is there?
Yeah, there wouldn't be.
Exactly. So it's over. Let's both say it's over. We're still friends. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
That's great. Now that it's over, can I ask you one last question before I get out of here?
Sure.
It wouldn't be worth talking to me for another 5, 10 minutes if I could give you greater coverage or save you some money over the long term. Would it?
If you could save me money over the long term, no, it wouldn't be over.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? I'm not sure if I understand.
Well, I mean, that's the thing I'm trying to do is save money here for my business.
Who's off the role play? Who's selling who now?
Now I'm selling myself.
You're selling yourself and you're also selling me. Did you see what I did, though? Did you see the reverse psychology? You got to be very careful how you use this. But you're going to yourself, this guy's not trying to sell me. I can relax. This is not a salesman. I'm not locked in the room with a lawyer and an insurance salesman. And for people listening to this, listen to these conversations, these role plays. Listen to the way I use my words and ask yourself, why did Claude say what he said? Why did I say that? Now, the average sales guy would say something like, oh, let me tell you about my company, and they'd keep going back to the presentation mode. I don't do that. I say, well, you know what? If you're happy with the company and everything, that's fine, sir. Now that it's over, don't worry about it. We're still friends. But even if I could save you money or give you better coverage, it wouldn't be worth talking some more. So you see, you say when it's over, you control the emotions in the process, and then you go right back to selling again if you think there's a possibility of something there. The rule is it's over when you say it's over.
Right.
You are the person in charge. You are the professional. You are the gut salesperson. You are a mind reader. You are Crescott. You know how they feel. You know what's going on in their head, and you understand this process. So you have a blank check in front of you the rest of your life.
Yep.
Okay, I'm demonstrating this all now. Do you think people see what I'm doing while I'm doing it in a conversational mode? Unless they took my course and really studied these materials. Do you think they know what I'm doing while I'm doing it? Because it's so different from what everybody else is doing, isn't it, Henry?
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
You know what's the best thing, Henry?
What's that?
It makes you so confident and so powerful. And it gives you the ability, if you represent a good product, service, real estate, whatever, it gives you the ability to make money whenever you want.
Yep. Hey, Claude, we got another question here. Looks like it's Monica across the pond. I'm going to bring her on.
Monica across the pond. Is that Monica in like England?
Yes, it's Monica Abraham.
Oh, yeah, she's in England.
Okay, hold on just a minute.
I know
Hey, Monica, just mute you. Let's, here we go. Hey, Monica, are you there? Hopefully she'll bring it on. Monica?
Come on the phone, love.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Listen to that marvelous accent.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, you guys. So anyway, my question is, I saw one of Claude's videos on YouTube, and he was talking with a guy, and I think it was like a mattress company. He was like, you know, you have a problem. Like, your mattress website is rubbish, and, you know, your social media doesn't match up. You know, you promise you're not going to be mad at me. Well, I've done this, and it kind of didn't work. I think people thought I was extremely rude, and I don't think it's not because it doesn't work. I think I'm doing something wrong because I'm saying the words right, but maybe it's my tone or something, or I think it's the way I'm saying it. And I think I don't want to use it as an excuse, but I am. I just think people are slightly more conservative here. What do you think?
I think I remember that video. It's one of my favorites. And my goal in that video was to not sound like the traditional, in that case we were selling web service, I believe, which is something I think you sell, web optimization and things like that, search engine SEO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the biggest problem I was getting from the person I was teaching, he said, I'm usually the third, fourth, or fifth person that calls this company every week, every month, and we all sound the same. So
Right.
my thinking was, what can we do completely to rock the boat, turn it all upside down? Let's call up people and say, hey, you have a problem. Let's role play it, Monica. Hi, you have a mattress company, we'll pretend. Hey, Monica.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Monica. Claude Diamond here. How are you?
So am I the salesperson or am I the prospect?
No, I'll be the salesperson. I'll demonstrate.
Okay, hello. Monica's Mattress. How may Monica's chiropractic? How may I help you?
Yeah, hi, Monica. Claude Diamond here. I'm with Claude Diamond Search Engine Optimization and web page specialty service, and you have a problem.
Okay, what's that problem?
You promise you won't get mad at me if I tell you?
Well, you have to tell me the problem first. So.
Yeah, I know. See, off the role play here before we go a little deeper.
Okay.
In most sales situations, if I called you up and said, hi, Monica, Claude Diamond here from Search Engine Optimization USA, and I want to tell you all about our wonderful program.
Well, I'll be like, sorry, we're very busy. Bye.
Bye-bye, click. Okay. You didn't do that because I was able to intrigue you and keep you on the phone. Now, my method is a little more dangerous, and you could get they could lash out. But if you call and sound just like your competition does, don't expect different results. You've got to intrigue them somehow. So when you tell somebody they have a problem, and you can be very creative and do many different techniques. But my one technique is, you have a problem, promise you won't get mad at me, you're losing, and then I would go into the money. I try to create the emotion. I would say, Monica, I think you're losing a lot of money and a lot of prospects to your competition because your web page is not capturing people, intriguing them, keeping them there, and I think you're losing a lot of money. Has anyone ever told you that before?
No.
Maybe no one else will, but I had to tell you because it seems like you have a nice company, but your web page is probably one of the worst I've ever seen, and I think it's costing you a fortune. Would it be worth talking to me for 10 minutes tomorrow? Won't cost you anything. I will waive my consulting fee, and I can give you a few ideas on how to optimize your web page so you can make a lot more money and get a lot more prospects. Would it be worth 10 minutes?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Open your
do.
calendar book. I'll be in your neighborhood. Is it 10:30 or 10:45 good for you?
Yeah, well, 10 if you come in about 10:45.
I will be there at 10:45, and I'll expect to see you there. Should I bring some coffee and bagels?
Oh, bring some digestive biscuits. Thank you.
Digestive biscuit. In America, we don't know what a digestive biscuit is. That sounds like something. That sounds horrible. What is a digestive biscuit?
Digestive biscuits are like malt biscuits, and you have them with tea. They're delicious, but don't eat too many of them. Honestly, don't do that.
Have you discovered what an Oreo? Do they have Oreos over there yet?
Do you know what? They've bought them over here. Everyone's complaining because they have GMOs.
But listen, I love the role play you brought up, and thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Monica.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a very good one. And so that's a different situation. And that's the premise here, whether, because we've got individuals in real estate, individuals in small businesses. The premise is still the same. The system and how you go about your agenda and everything is still the same, whether it's real estate or in a business.
Mattresses, whatever, you've got to be different. You've got to sometimes shock them. You've got to get their attention. Make them laugh or make them cry, but get their attention. But if you call up and say, hi there, I want to talk to you about advertising today, click. And you get those clicks all day long. You feel horrible. You're rejected. How do you do that day after day? I cry at dog movies, Henry. I'm too sensitive. I can't take that much rejection. So I've got to be creative. I've got to use psychology and understanding behavior. And when I tell somebody, and this is just one of there's many other techniques that we have in the gut sales method, and by just saying to somebody, you have a problem, naturally they're going to be curious, and they're going to say, curiosity is an emotion. What is that problem? And now I get a chance to create some need, some greed, some fear, some passion, so that I can get their attention. I've got a fighting chance to get an appointment or to give a presentation.
Now, Lauren, she's going to ask another question. I'm going to bring her on, and you hit on the emotion part of it. Now we're going to go back to lease purchase, and that was one of her questions.
Real estate, yay.
Here we go.
All right. Who is this?
It's Lauren. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is Lauren.
Oh, okay, if you can, just silence your speaker. That's all you need to do.
Okay, but I won't be able to hear you.
No, we can. Oh, okay, we can hear you fine, unless you have a headset on. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't have a headset.
That's okay.
Ask her question.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and ask the question, Lauren.
Sure. I'm marketing to people who are renting their properties out, and I'm asking if they're interested in lease optioning their properties. I love the shaking your head. Suggestions to get them emotionally involved, in an idea they perhaps had previously considered.
Well, it's a good question, and I was only shaking my head because I don't think if you start off your conversation and you say, would you be considered doing a lease purchase? I got to tell you, I think, maybe I'm being conservative, I think 50 to 75 people have never heard of a lease purchase and don't know what it is and don't want to embarrass themselves. And so I would never start off the conversation saying, hey, would you consider doing a lease purchase or something? I would use, if you have to say something like that, I would say, would you consider doing a rent to own today? Change your language, change your words a little bit. And what I would do before then is I would ask questions, say, gee, you mind if I ask you a few questions? We call this the agenda step. Why are you doing a rental? How long has it been empty? This isn't costing you any money, is it? Things like that, where we get them emotionally involved. Well, we find out why are they renting it. Maybe they couldn't sell it, and that's why they're renting it. We've got to get them in some kind of conversation where they're doing more talking than we are and get them involved. You might want to ask yourself, let me ask you something, Ms. Prospect. I don't know if this is, I'm a private investor, and I'm looking for a property that I could possibly rent and purchase in the future. That isn't anything you'd be comfortable with today, is it?
I'm sorry, could you say that again, Claude?
No, you were so brilliant the first time, doggone
I'm sorry.
I would say, Miss Prospect, I'm a private investor, and I got your phone number in front of me. You mind if I just ask you a quick question? Your property, you wouldn't consider doing a rental with an opportunity to purchase in the future. That isn't anything you'd be comfortable with, is it?
I don't know. It's not, I haven't really ever thought of anything like that.
Well, let's pretend. I mean, why are you even renting it in the first place? It's not vacant, is it? It's not costing you any money.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, but it's okay. I mean, I've got some extra cash, and I
Of course. Then just let it sit there. If money's not an issue, me, I still collect bottles and take them into the recycle center.
I want to rent it, of course, but it's not, hurting me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to hear that during a recession somebody isn't hurting. So if it rents out maybe after the holidays, January, February, March, it's not an issue for you. Must be great to be that, you know, well off, financially well off. I'm a little envious of your position. You know, me, I hate losing money, and you probably have the mortgage all paid in full, right? And there's little or no taxes on the property, insurance, maintenance, or homeowner fees, right?
Oh, well, you know, I do have some of those things. And yeah, I mean, I do want to not have to lose money, but I mean, like I said, I've just never really thought of selling it. You know, it's been giving me good income, and it's okay.
Yeah, so the bottom line is when the properties, if you do have a mortgage and those kind of typical fees, utilities and things on your property, if it's sitting empty for several months, that's money you have to pay out of your pocket, and you're also on top of it not making a profit because nobody's renting it. That's really, you know, it bothers me to lose money. And it's good to talk to somebody where that's not an issue.
So basically what you're doing is you're making them feel okay.
I'm trying to make you feel not okay, actually.
I get it.
If I make you feel not well, you start to think, you know what, he's got a point there. I'm paying all this money for insurance and utilities and electricity and the mortgage and the taxes, and it's been sitting for 2 months, and you know, that's money down the toilet. And then I used to make $200-300 a month on it. I'm not getting that. I'm trying to raise an emotion. Maybe it's not. And you know, we give people a score on a 1 through 10. And you're somewhere around a 3, 4, 5. And my job is to find a trigger, a psychological trigger, where I can get you up to that 8, 9, or 10. And I'm not doing that great a job, frankly, but at least I know at this point whether or not I can do business with you. So maybe what I would do at this point is take our conversation, take your name and phone number, maybe send you a follow-up iJot, a video message, and then call you back in November or December and say, hi there, you probably don't remember me. This is Claude Diamond, but I have a note here to follow up with you. That property of yours on Main Street, it's gone, right?
Okay,
and then boom, start all over again and follow up but work off your notes.
Right,
but if there's no pain, there's no gain. You've got to create the pain or discover it or be very creative in it. But I got to get you so emotionally involved with the loss of money or something so that you want to do business with me in some way. My system is not being the typical salesperson, but being very creative. And if you listen to this this audio later, you'll see that a lot of my words and the way I ask my questions are positive or negative to get the opposite response from you. Excellent. Sorry, that was great. Thank you for doing that. That was a wonderful role play.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks.
Henry, where's the time going, buddy?
I'm telling you, it's going by fast, and I'll tell you, Claude, I'm sure a lot of these other people, that I see that I've been on other webinars, they don't allow what like you and I are doing. I mean, I think this is where we're bringing a lot of value, Claude, into it. You know, and with your mentees that you work, it's this one-on-one relationship and being able to develop and work with them. You know, that's the key thing here.
That's the way I learned. I had a great teacher, a great mentor, and I believe in education. I bought the books and tapes and the seminars. But I'm the kind of person, if you show me, if you practice your role play, you make phone calls with me, that's what really works for me. And I think a lot of people need that kind of practice and accountability. Just to give somebody a book and say, hey, do a lease purchase, do this or that, and then make phone calls and get that heavy rejection and not know what to say.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Claude, that's the thing that I do when I work with my clients. I actually get on the phone with my clients, and we call buyers and sellers together. And that's what we do, on that, because that's the difference that I like doing, because that's where you provide the value in that situation.
Exactly, and and that's how you become comfortable. And when you're having fun, believe it or not, you can have fun making cold calls, or what we call converting cold calls to warm calls, because you have a system, you have a process, and you know what to say. You don't take it personal. You do not get emotionally involved, but you try to get the prospect emotionally involved. And that's the whole beauty of the gut sales method. We stay in control, we have fun, and we go to the bank much more often. Before we run out of time here, don't we have a little special we want to talk about for a moment?
Yeah, Claude, I mean, you've had your gut system here for a long time, and that's one of the things. You just put in a lot of time, energy, and effort into this, and it's the brand new gut cell system that you just came out with here for 2014. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, folks, anybody who's interested, it's just go to claudeandhenry.com/theworks. And basically, this is the 2014 Gut Sales Training Update. I believe we have about 70, 80 hours of training videos, live phone calls, training videos. We have role plays. We have live phone calls, and you can download them. I have it all through Dropbox. We have audio training, so where the system is broken down so you know the difference between the agenda, the qualification, and the commitment close step. We have PowerPoints where we go into the strategies, the psychology of sales, the different techniques in closing and so forth. It's just a gigantic, we have mind maps, tons of mind maps. Well, we have so much information. My biggest complaint from people is that I made it too big. There's just too much stuff in there. Anyway, it's $9.95, and as a special, we're including a one-on-one recorded Skype mentoring session with yours truly. And after you study the materials, you call me up. We'll talk on the phone for 30 to 60 minutes. We'll make live phone calls together, and we can record them, and you'll get a real live training session on how to use guts. Did I leave anything out, Henry?
Well, the other thing too, Claude, is the other thing that I put in there was the marketing plan. You know, whether it's lease purchase, you know, whether it's sales, whether it's web design, anything like that. Most of the people have a hard time putting together a marketing plan, and that's a lot of things that I do with a lot of the small business owners I work with and real estate people. You know, I put together their marketing plan for their area.
So this is an entire package, $9.95. It's everything about the gut sales method. It is books. It is audio files. It is video files. It is mind maps. It's my new book on the gut sales method. It is PowerPoints. It's enormous. This is a simple way to really. I think the guts is a simple technique, but it takes practice, and you get to see other people using this system successfully and all the different nuances and strategies. So go to claudeandhenry.com/theworks. Anybody who orders this evening will also get a 1-hour training session and a marketing plan made personally customized for you. So that's the only commercial I think we have today. The purpose of doing this little webinar is just to share with you folks that sales can be fun. It can be within your control, and if you know what to say when they say the silly things they may say. Do we have time to do a few more, Henry, before we go?
Yeah, I mean, we can do, if anybody wants to do one more role play, I mean, they can go ahead and come on, and we can do that. You know, so if you want to do that, just let me know.
What's that? Ask me. Well, what's the one? References. Did you ever have someone say, "Well, do you have any references?"
Oh yeah, that's always a key one. Do you have any? You know, Claude. I mean, I mean, if I'm going to do business with you, I mean, who else have you done business with?
I'm so glad you asked me that question, Mr. Prospect. That is really, that's the best thing I've heard today. Good for you for asking that. Now, off the role play, that's called a stroke. And what you do is you want to make that person feel okay, like the lady before said. So the first thing you do is when they ask a question like that, and it may be even abrasive, you give them a stroke. Say, good for you, that's a good question. And you do it in such a way with such finesse that they don't see what you're doing. Then you make your move. So good question, Henry. I'm really glad you brought that up. What kind of references would you like so that we could move forward and do business today?
No, that is a good one. I mean, that's a good question from that standpoint. You know,
so now I turn
you threw it back onto me at that point.
Exactly. Or I could say something, Henry. Good for you for asking that question. Let's pretend I could give you the best references, people I've done business with over the last 25 years, Better Business Bureau, different character references and things like that. If I gave you those references to your personal satisfaction in the next 30 minutes, what would happen when we speak this evening at 6:30?
I would say, yeah, that could work.
I don't know what that means. It could work. What does that mean? What?
Yeah, I mean, that 6:30 would be fine.
6:30 would be fine. And if these references attested to my veracity and credibility and to your personal satisfaction, what do you think will happen to us doing business?
Well, I think we can move forward.
You think you know?
Well, we could move forward then.
What?
We can move forward then.
Okay, off the role play. Do you know why I always say what? I know it's annoying as all get out, but why does he do that? Why do I do it? Do you see, sometimes people give you different answers.
Right.
Or they give you more, or they get away from the maybes and the probablys, and they
Yep.
say, yeah, we can do it. Finally,
Yeah.
leave me alone.
It gives them that definitive answer. We've got one question here from John. Okay. I'm going to bring him on. He's got a role-playing situation.
Okay, what do we got? About a minute left here.
Yep. Okay, go ahead, John.
Hi,
Hi,
John.
Henry and Claude.
Hi, guys.
Long time no talk, Claude. My question, what I'm having a challenge with is I work on these deals and then real estate deals, and then time gets passed, and then it's 3 or 4 weeks, and my bad, I haven't gotten back to them, and now I'm embarrassed to get back to them. Got any ideas on what how to call them up and I ask them if they still have a house for sale or?
Well, first thing I want to say is that I think it's so nice that John, you came off the golf course. John is a professional golfer, and you especially took time to call in to our webinar today. So thank you very much.
I'm actually trading some options here. I'm trading right now, so this is good.
But John, everybody is fallible. Everybody can make a mistake. First thing I would do is just to start off the conversation, hi, John, you probably don't remember me by now, but we spoke about, God, I think it was Christmas 2012. You don't remember me, do you?
No, not really.
Yeah, you and I spoke about your training course and training options and things like that, and I was kind of interested in it, and I was supposed to get back to you, and I got to apologize. You know how life is and things like that. Can I ask you a few questions about your options training program?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
You see, first thing I do is I apologize.
Okay.
Or I go to you, John, you probably don't remember me, do you? And I'll ask you a question. That gets your brain thinking, no, I don't know. Who the hell are you? You're calling me, and everything. I'm trying to engage you in a conversation, and I'm trying to, and so my thing is, always call people back. Now, listen, I have one. Here's a quick story. I have a client in New York City, and he said, Claude, what do you do when the prospect hangs up on you? What do you think my answer was?
Call him back.
Amen, brother. Call him back, always.
You must have got disconnected.
Yeah, and you call him back. My one client, he asked me that, and I said, call him back by all means. So he waited a few hours. He called him back. Hi, Mr. Prospect. Got just a quick question here. It's been bothering me all day. Did I say something wrong, or were we disconnected, or did you hang up? Because I really feel bad about it. Maybe I said something to upset you. Which one was it, sir? And then the guy said to my client, he says, you just called at the wrong time. I was having a bad day. I had all this stuff pulling me left and right and everything, and I shouldn't have treated you that way. I apologize. Anyway, my client got the appointment and eventually a sale with this guy because he had the chutzpah, the unmitigated gall, the guts to call him back. So gut system is about fighting for it and calling people back. No one is allowed to treat you as you treat you. You can expect to be treated the same way you treat other people.
Okay, so you just make light of the fact, or you apologize for being late.
Yeah, Mr. Prospect, tell me what I said or did. I feel really bad. I must have said something to really upset you, and that bothers the heck out of me. What did I do?
Okay.
Tell me what I did wrong so I can apologize.
I see. Okay. And the same thing if it's on a piece of real estate and you got to, the guy says, I should have got back to you and I really didn't, or, I mean, do you act like you act like you weren't supposed to get back to him? You probably don't remember me. Is that the better approach?
I'm not really sure if I understand it. It depends on the position you're in.
I talked to a guy this month, and then I'm supposed to get back to him next week, and it slips my mind. I lose the note or whatever, and here I find it on my desk a month later. And I said, oh, God, I forgot to.
Turn it around and say, Mr. Prospect, got to apologize to you. We've had so many people inquire about this property, about this proposal, and everything, that I was just overwhelmed, and I owe you a really big apology because you inquired about the property, and I should have got back to you a while ago. And can you ever forgive me?
Okay.
Yeah, boom.
Good. Thank you.
That's called stroking, nurturing. Okay, you're getting control. Most people, I think, are good. Most people are very reasonable, and the guy will probably say, nah, don't worry about it. It's okay. I wasn't really interested. Or, oh, yeah, I was wondering why you didn't call me back. You know, whatever. You're engaging him in another conversation. Now so you show a little humility, but now you have control again. Right. Henry, I think we're about out of time here. John, thank you so much for calling.
Yep. Hey, real quick, Claude, somebody who hasn't purchased your package, they're wanting to know, well, you know what, Claude, how do I know this gut system is going to work for me? What proof is there? How do I know that it will?
Well, maybe it won't work for you, sir. What is it you're trying to accomplish? Are you reaching all your goals in sales? Are you comfortable? Can you pick up the phone and talk to anybody? If I went to the white pages and filled out some phone numbers, could you talk to people in an engaging conversation? Are you having fun with sales? Are you making all the money you could possibly make in sales? If you can't answer these questions in a positive sense, then maybe there's something that could make you a better salesperson. The one thing I know is school is never over. I'm still learning every day by reading, by studying, by practicing. And the bottom line is, if you increase your sales, if you just use one little technique from Guts that makes you a better salesman, and you increase your sales by 5%, what is that going to mean at the end of the year? $500 more, $5,000, $50,000, $500,000 more? School is never over. And you either believe that I'm part of the solution or part of the problem. If I'm part of the problem, it's over. If you think what Henry and I have been talking about today, about learning a system, understanding the psychology of that system, and practicing and learning to sound different than your competition, then this is something that can enhance your income, and it might be worth looking into.
Okay. Well, great. Well, yeah, we're just about out of time here, Claude, so just wanted to thank for everybody. Again, Claude, why don't you I'm going to put in the website here real quick, for those in regards where to go ahead and get it. And so I'll go ahead and do that, but it's www.claudeandhenry.com/the-works.
That's right. And can we send them this mind map too, regardless of whether they buy something or not?
Yeah, I've had a lot of questions about that. Everybody's asking if we can get a recording of it, and the answer is yes. So that is something that
we're going to get this. We're going to give it away for free.
That's right. We're going to go ahead and we are going to give it away for free. So
and good. I'm glad we're doing that because sales is the $1,000,000 skill, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what you sell, you've got to be superb at sales. You've got to have control. It's the $1,000,000 skill.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. I mean, you brought up a very good thing in regards with having this system. I mean, if it can just increase your business, 5%, 10%. Depending, if it makes you do one more lease purchase deal, I mean that's going to help you out in the long run, right there.
How about just feeling good about yourself? My mom said the same thing to you that she said to me, or something like that. Don't talk to strangers, right? and when we grow up, we've got to talk to total strangers. And cold calling is so abusive, so much rejection. And just imagine for a moment that you could, your conversation with a best friend or someone you're comfortable with, you know how nice that is and how it flows. Can you imagine if you had those same kind of conversations with total strangers all day long? It stands to reason that something good is going to happen in your life because you're having these comfortable, controlled conversations. And if you learn the psychology of the whole system, you're just going to make more money and have more fun doing it.
Yep.
And that's all Guts is about, is feeling good about yourself in the business world.
Yep, that's it. You hit a lot of good points. Well, listen, like I said, I wanted to thank everybody. Just hit over an hour here. Great role-playing session. And like you said, oh yeah, went by fast. And so, like I said, you can go again to www.claudeandhenry.com/the-works from there. All right, Claude.
Listen to everybody. Hey, good night, Henry. Thank you so much. And that's Henry Serrano in California, Claude Diamond on the mountaintop here in Colorado. And good gut selling to everybody. Thank you for listening.
Yep. Thank you very much, you guys.
Bye-bye, folks.
See you later.